Hello. Let's start with a question. How much energy, water, and material should a city of 2 million people use? And what if the city is located in a hot and dry desert? Nobody seems to know the answer. I'm an architect and urban designer, and my research explores how the city of the future should be designed, built, operated, managed, and eventually recycled in a more resourceful way, so we do not lose the future of our planet. At the same time, we want to be more resourceful and regenerate the ecosystem. Nature plays a huge part in my life, and I go frequently hiking in the canyons of the Mojave Desert. Today we hear about natural disasters on a daily basis. I believe it's timely to rethink the relationship between the natural and the built environment. Is this nature? Two different value systems, rethinking the relationship. Urbanism is directly impacted by those global challenges. Our research is interested in desert cities and what makes desert cities more sustainable, how cities grow, how cities consume, and looking at cities as centers of consumption. For the last 30 years, I've been at the forefront of interdisciplinary teaching and research, looking at the linkages between sustainable architecture and climate change challenges, giving young people a sense of purpose. I'm frequently called a leader and pioneer in sustainable urbanism, with 23 books published in the field and numerous built works of sustainable architecture, and appointed by UNESCO as chair in sustainable urban development. Our research is extensive, and we provide in my research center the independent scientific evidence and new knowledge for governments, cities, municipalities, and the private sector to make those better informed decisions about how the city of the future should evolve, and plan ahead to make those difficult, complex, and often very expensive infrastructural decisions. We provide solutions and positive messages. We never engage in climate alarmism or doomsday messages. The impact of our research is extremely important for us to have positive impact, reducing CO2, but also a whole range of other types of impact. To make the city more compact, mixed use, walkable, and greener. And essential is to have good data, good decision-making data. And we try to do all this without increasing any bureaucracy or government regulations or red tape. We found that bureaucracy most of the time only breeds more bureaucracy. So at my research center, the Urban Futures Lab, we are very interested in small government and effectiveness, and not increasing the number of regulations. Over the last 10 years, we saw the cities of the US Sunbelt states fast growing, and one of those fast growing car-dependent cities is, of course, Las Vegas. Beyond its water scarcity, we all know about Las Vegas has a series of real and unique challenges, and desert cities are so interesting to us because of those unique challenges. All deserts and desert cities are different. For instance, in Las Vegas, the major sources of greenhouse gas emissions come from driving, trucks and cars, and also the excessive use of air conditioning. Of 8 billion people living on the planet, almost 2 billion, a quarter, are living in desert cities. This, of course, is a serious challenge, and we are trying to add relevant research to help desert cities to grow into the future. Some of those desert cities are very large. For instance, Cairo, Egypt is the largest desert city. Here in the US, Phoenix, Arizona, with almost 5 million people, is the largest desert city. Here we see the chart of US Sunbelt cities fast growing over the last 10 years, including Las Vegas. Las Vegas, of course, has a series of challenges, including the lack of an effective growth boundary. In our research, we learned a lot about desert cities. We know that overheating glass towers are not a good solution for desert cities at all. And also, it's important to avoid the dangerous urban heat island effect. Desert cities many times don't have an effective growth boundary. But how large do we want the footprint of the city to be? How far do we want the city to encroach into the vulnerable ecosystem of the Mojave Desert? We need to have an effective growth boundary and change zoning. Zoning is mostly asking for single household architecture, increasing suburbs more and more, which is a barrier to innovation and urban infill. So we need to future-proof the urbanization model. What will it take to design, build, and operate the next generation of sustainable, resourceful desert city? How can we ensure that our neighborhoods and urban spaces are mixed use, compact, more healthy, greener, and at the same time support urban resilience? The urban heat island effect is extremely relevant since we see more and more longer and stronger heat waves. How do we avoid black asphalt? How do we engage in a greening program, re-greening the city? I'm very optimistic. I see a lot of interesting solutions every day introduced into the system. The automobile urbanism that has damaged so much of 20th century cities, resulting in infrastructure out of scale like we see here in this image, and transforming our cities to be more compact, more walkable is very important. So we engage in projects and usually try to unleash the power of potential entrepreneurship, working together with companies and the private sector to tap into the collective wisdom. Architects alone, of course, can't solve those problems. We have to work together, and not one profession is able to fix the complex problems of cities. This means architects have to work together with health experts, climatologists, computer scientists, social scientists, engineers, and so on, all contributing to transdisciplinary solutions. Walking is extremely important. It's inspiring our brain function, and there's a lot of research about walkable neighborhoods and how we transform car-dependent cities to become more walkable, a major subject of our research. What are the 4 common sense, impactful strategies that we like to employ in every project? We like to use the solar energy, upscaling and harnessing the clean energy, solar power, first of all. Building integrated photovoltaic is now so cost-effective and affordable that is really competitive to fossil fuel, and we like to turn cities into decentralized power stations, even generating more energy than they consume. The second strategy we use is reducing the amount of construction waste and minimizing the embodied carbon in construction material. This is very relevant because 35% of all waste is coming from construction and demolition waste streams in the US, but this is almost worldwide the situation. So much construction waste, and we want to unleash the potential of modular prefabrication to make sure that buildings are having a smaller footprint and can be 100% recyclable using bio-based materials such as timber, mass timber construction, and shifting towards a polycentric structure of cities once they grow more than 1-2 million people. Reintegrating greenery, very important, growing some of our food locally. 96% of all the food consumed in Las Vegas is imported from elsewhere. This, of course, is completely unsustainable. So we are trying to propagate in every project, introduce urban farming, vertical urban farming, hydroponics, growing drought-resilient crops and nutritious food locally by planting urban forests and using hydroponics. The way we do this in a desert city is, of course, very different from other cities. And last but not least, the 4th strategy we like to use is walkability, turning our urban spaces into shaded, more inspiring spaces for walking and cycling. 42% of Americans are obese, and one reason is the wrong food. The second reason is a lack of physical activity, such as walking. So in the desert city of the future, walking will be a key factor, improving the walkability of our public spaces. Zero waste construction and wooden buildings will be a way forward. Lightweight, storing carbon in the structure, having buildings that are 100% recyclable, unleashing the full potential of off-site manufactured modules. A lot of carbon is stored in timber and other bio-based materials. Rammed earth is very interesting for us, but also bamboo. We wish that we could build buildings like trees and cities like forests, which not only absorb CO2, but also generate biomass, regulate flooding, and produce no waste, and provide supply oxygen, and many other beneficial side products of trees. We believe that the 19th century was the architecture of steel and glass, 20th century concrete, and the 21st century will be the center of engineered mass timber and digital manufacturing, growing food into the desert, because 96% of food imported is just completely unsustainable. So in conclusion, I see a future with much to be optimistic about, a future where architecture and urbanism make an essential contribution, and everybody can be part of green urbanism by growing some of your food locally, generating solar power, reduce your waste, create shading, embrace walking. While there's still a long way to go before we are where we want to be, I see now an increasing number of people, communities working together, researchers and companies, on this combination of human need and what the planet needs to regenerate at the same time. Beyond the politics and statistics, I say architects want to improve society and help society to live a life that is more healthy, meaningful, happy, and at the same time more resourceful. So what the world needs now more is green urbanism. Thank you.